Okay, so today we're going to look at a battling against spin drill, specifically about sweeping. Okay, so as we know, sweep is one of the most effective shots we can play to a spinner. Why? Because it's bolted the spinner's best ball. That's absolutely crucial. Not only that, it's a shot that you play from a static position, so for me there's less chance of things going wrong because you're not actually advancing down the wicket. So it's a really good shot to have, especially with the emergence of T20 and 1D. Ben, what I've set up here is some angle drill, if you like. We've got yellow, green, red and blue, and for you have to find a way to get the ball into each of the gaps by sweeping the ball over. Is that clear?
Perfect.
I'm going to feed the ball. I'm going to start, the key thing with this, I'm going to start by feeding off one knee. Why? Because I reduce the amount of bounce the ball will get. That's one of the hardest things to counteract when sweeping, and one of the more risky elements to sweeping the ball is that extra bounce. So to build the batter's confidence, I'm going to get them coming forward, extending their arms, going through the key points we'll revisit in a moment. But for now, just nullifying the bounce, I'll be feeding off one knee. Any questions?
No, all good, all
Let's
good.
go.
Am I trying to get one in each gap?
So I've hit that now, move on, don't I?
Yeah, you move on now, so you've got to go for red. Find a way of getting it to red.
Oh.
Shot. A bit easier that one, just a fraction straighter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You didn't have to create the angle yourself, I sort of gave it you with the ball. I felt the previous two, you probably wanted to hit green, didn't you? Where you can extend your arms more.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like when it's the line of the ball, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if the ball's outside my body,
Yeah.
it's easier to get in front of square. So the natural thing to do then to try and get it square of the wicket was to try and get in line with it, and then to get it behind square, I probably want to almost get offside of the ball.
I mean, you make a really good point there about against a bowler who's consistent, if you're able to create that angle and almost guess, well, they are pitching it off stump, spinning away from me, you're sort of getting into off stump to change that angle for yourself, so I quite like the idea. We're going blue now. Blue zone.
4.
Yeah. Yellow. Okay, let's go round again now. We've gone round once.
That was the easiest one, though.
In the words of Will Zackley, the shot was on. First ball against the spinner in April.
Not a sweep, we'll start that one again.
Creates a serious point for debate that though, Ben. You're able to show there that even with the intent of sweeping, because you've picked the length early, you're still in a good position to be able just to knock it in the gap.
Yeah, I mean, I think thinking afterwards, I probably could have swept it because I could have got it on the full, but
Yep.
I felt the length would have been quite risky. That.
Okay. Green again. Great shot.
That's definitely the easier gap to hit because you can almost hang leg side of it.
I think as well it's worth noting for those who are watching this that I'm coming around the wicket. So I think that if I'm keeping my line just outside off, it naturally lends Ben to fetching the ball. Whereas if I was bowling over the wicket, for example, I think that accessing the square ones become easier. We're red, are we?
Yeah. Oh,
Close, a little bit early.
I didn't quite commit to that, I don't think.
Red again. Yeah, good, well adjusted. Blue.
Oh, I've hit it.
So how did that feed for the blue differ from the last one?
It was slower, so that's
Yeah.
why I tried to hit it rather than sort of paddle it. Because normally my plan there is to use the pace.
Yep.
But I thought you were going to try and take pace off it. So yeah, I thought you were going to try and shaft me a little bit. So I thought I'll try and get ahead of the ball and hit it like that.
Okay.
But it's more a pace thing, that.
Those guys who tune in to watch the right-hander doing this drill the other week will see how to play the shot just behind square like that. So.
I think I've done better. I've got that breaks before.
No, I'm kidding. Right, let's go.
Oh, Oh.
It's a wide anyway. I think that's the important point as well. If you play this to the right sort of ball, it will be a wide anyway.
Has that gone through?
It's quite an effective shot, that. But it's still not blue.
No.
More of a scoop, that.
It just gripped a bit, you know, that one.
More of a scoop.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And now yellow to finish. Lovely. Okay, then just come down.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel sort of having to be told that you're committing to a sweep shot for every ball that I bowl?
Well, I think, to be honest, sometimes I find, and I'm sure other players will, when you almost premeditate and choose and commit to something before you do it, you actually end up finding you can sweep balls that maybe you wouldn't have swept. Like particularly the ones when you're hitting towards the green. I think you realise that yes, it looks like fetching the ball, but because you can play that ball from outside your body, as long as you can extend your arms properly, you can take balls on. I reckon I can hit the ball from 5th or 6th stump through that gap, and then likewise the straight balls in the red and the blue. So you can almost sweep every ball if you wanted to.
The nice thing about this as well is that David Gower plays.
Adrian Pearson.
I think the nice thing about it as well is that plane that went over Berlin the other week. I think the nice thing about it is with this drill is that it's down to me to change my fitness. So if you're looking at sweeping is about committing to the shot. The one thing you're in control of as a batter is committing to that position. The one thing you're not in control of is whether the bowler pushes it through quicker, holds it back. So one really important point to point out here, and I think you'll see this in the edited version in a moment, is that by Ben delaying his movement, it means that I can't then change my pace depending on what he does. I have to always decide the ball I'm going to bowl. If he moves too early, he plays his hand too early, and then I have to actually, I can react to it. It's really worth mentioning that. The second point that's worth mentioning is that by me being able to change the pace, actually his ability to adjust also improves. So Ben, you're actually having to find maybe 2 different types of ways of getting through the gap, e.g. the blue. For the red, you might be having to play the same shot, but one of them you're moving later, one of them you're actually getting down and maybe taking it earlier if it's a little bit quick with the feet. So there's probably 6 or 7 different shots you can play within them 4 sweeping areas.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, just with it being in front of square, the green gap lends itself to that slight slower delivery, more of a slog sweep when you've got a bit more flight on it, and you can afford to put pace onto the ball. Whereas the red and the blue, you're looking to get in line or sometimes even offside of the ball, and you're sort of looking for one that's got a bit more pace on it. I feel with them.
Okay, key question, because our lifetime ambition is to sort of make an iCoach cricket clip at some point in the next 10 years.
I've already made one.
What I'd like to say is Ben, how would you make this harder for yourself? What could you do?
I think for me, the easiest gap is the yellow gap. I'm more confident reverse sweeping, especially with the ball turning away. So I think I would take away the options that I find the easiest, which is the green and the yellow, and force myself to hit more through the red and the blue, or rather than hitting the reverse sweep square of the wicket, because that, I mean, yes, I've hit the gap every time, but I don't think, unless I've nailed them, that I'm going to particularly get many runs. That I think I'm hitting just in front of points, they could be cut off. So could I hit that shot behind the yellow or in front of the yellow?
So potentially you might shift the blue zone over.
You could have the gaps on the other side, yeah.
Okay, I like it. Okay, excellent, mate. Thanks for that.
Cool. Perfect.
4.
Oh, I've hit it.
Okay, then just come down.